Want to be liked, admired, maybe just settle for being accepted? Have you ever sat in a coffee shop alone for longer than it takes to drink a coffee? Perhaps you are a writer drinking your first caramel mocha frappuccino about to write your protagonist. Want your character to be cool, revered, maybe just settle for being liked? You put your hands to your keyboard, confident you have full control over this world. Your fingers, a blur. With every keystroke, you pound away more compliments for your protagonist. Every side character, a vessel of praise for your hero. But something's wrong. You shake your head. Your interest in your story, dead. Delete. You start again. This time, you try something different. This time, you put your side characters above your protagonist. This time, you put your side characters up. So, let's talk side characters, who have one very specific trait in common. Let's take a look at a few characters from animations and movies that succeed in being so much better than the protagonist, they bring them up just by association. First up on our list of examples is Aggretsuko. Aggretsuko is the story of Panda Girl, a mild-mannered office worker with a dark secret that she takes minimal effort to hide and nobody seems to care about. It's a genuinely great series, and the second best thing to come from the Hello Kitty cinematic universe besides...
One night when I was 10, he tried to smother me with a Hello Kitty duvet.
When Panda Girl isn't engaging in your aunt's least favorite music genre, she's getting her ass handed to her by her merciless coworkers and horrible boss.
I hate women so freaking much.
Oh shit, that's a gamer moment. But she isn't a bad worker. She's reliable and willing to work overtime, but shit has a habit of rolling downhill, squarely right at her. She struggles to keep her head above water in the corporate cesspool and her friends pity her. It's all very relatable, if a bit sad watching her struggle against the office hellscape. Then we have her complete opposites, the bad bitches of the office, Eaglet, and Gorilla. Everything that Panda Girl aspires to be, they already are. From their take no prisoners walk, their unique stylish clothes, their cool calm demeanor, and their tall stature, everything from their design tells you, they run this shit. They don't have a big role starting off in the series, mainly used for one-off jokes, often enough getting a laugh from just how different they are from Panda Girl, but all that changes by a twist of fate when Panda Girl signs up for the same yoga class. In cinema, Hitchcock's rule states that the size of an object in frame should equal to its importance in the story at that moment. And that same logic, the amount of screen time given to a plot point should equal its importance in the story overall. And the episode where these two opposites collide and Panda Girl reveals her secret to her office superiors is pretty important. All subplots are put on pause as the episode plays out, from Panda Girl being a mixture of cold and afraid of the bad bitches to them, against all odds, becoming best friends. From this point on, they become an unlikely trio and everything changes. Panda Girl's new relationship with the office powerhouses suddenly puts her up, both in story, as she has access to power in the office, even momentarily putting her boss in place, as well as in our perception. These cool, able characters like her, so we should like her a little more as well. They see her as capable, so maybe we should too. Never would have figured she would bag such good friends, but damn if she didn't do it. So, in Aggretsuko Season 1, we put two characters way above our protagonist, and when they finally do connect, they pull the protagonist up a few notches along with them. So let's take a look at a completely different approach and dive right into Aggretsuko Season 2. In Season 2, Panda Girl is slightly less of a loser, but is balanced out by dealing with slightly more shit. In her driving school, she meets the one person who's an even bigger loser than her, Goat Boy. Contrasting the bad bitch's introduction, this guy's completely put down in his first scene. When Panda Girl and Goat Boy start to talk, it's not an especially noteworthy event with little fanfare. It's only a few episodes later when he's revealed to be a billionaire tech genius that this gets thrown for a loop. This goes against everything we learned about him so far, and this is dropped on us pretty quickly. Going from a real chump to not a chump would be some real whiplash that'd be hard to sell, but between the limo, the jet, and the just being told that he's crazy rich, we get the idea pretty quick he's a big deal. Money is something we the audience understand very easily, and it really does speak for itself. If you ever had money, you likely understand this. If you ever not had money, you definitely do. So, when we the audience have to completely reevaluate our perception of Goat Boy, putting him from low tier to competition viable, our perception of Panda Girl goes along for the ride. By this point in the series, we hopefully like her as a character no matter who she's dating, but one of the major subplots of the season is she's on and off looking for a man and she's struggling to find one. So when she jumps from failing at speed dating to landing the world's most eligible bachelor, that's a pretty major development and should have an emotional impact on anyone who's even slightly invested in the series. It sure was for all of her coworkers. Now, this technique doesn't just apply to cartoon animals. Let's take the movie least like our cute little office furries, Fight Club. Fight Club is the story of Office Boy as he struggles to become the office man. As he gives up conformist consumerist ways with the help of his new closest friend, Fight Man. Now, completely contradicting what I said earlier about giving time to what's important, Fight Man is actually given very little time to be developed on his own. Now, despite being as instrumental to the plot as Fight Man is, he really doesn't get that much screen time for nearly 20 minutes. The writers fixed this around the time Office Boy moves in with him with some entertaining character moments, but up until the 20-minute mark, it's just about only Office Boy and how much of a loser he is until Fight Man is on the scene. Instead of setting our side character as someone amazing or setting up a twist for him to be amazing, the movie spends 30 minutes setting up the protagonist as somebody pretty pathetic and unamazing. The one redeeming trait Office Boy has is his interesting take on the world around him that he shares in monologue. Not really else going on for him besides that. In fact, up to this point, nearly everyone with a speaking role comes off as pretty pathetic for one reason or another. So when Fight Man comes around, he immediately sticks out, not because he's been shown to be amazing yet, but because he hasn't been shown to be pathetic. And while he isn't given much time to develop on his own, every second of screen time he has is put to full use. Not a single line of his dialogue is wasted as he says crazy, bold, or clever lines, one after another.
Why do guys like you and I know what a teve is?
Well, I heard from a good friend those things are killing machines. So when this crazy napalm soap salesman exits from his first real scene, maybe he's made a big impression on us, or maybe he hasn't. But what matters is he still stands far above our otherwise pathetic cast. So when not much longer later, when Office Boy and Fight Man become the dynamic duo they were fated to become, Fight Man's status brings up Office Boy's low standing. And so when Office Boy becomes significantly less of a loser in a pretty short period of time, we readily accept it due to his special relationship with Fight Man. Interestingly enough, later on in the movie, this special relationship starts to deteriorate as other fight people start to muscle in on their special house and seem to be closer to Fight Man than he is. Office Boy has to stand on his own without this relationship. At this point, you can argue either way that his standing drops as he finds himself alone and confused, questioning himself, or that his standing stays up or even rises as he now tackles his problem head on, which is something he very likely would not have done before he met Fight Man. Possibly the most clear example of this kind of relationship is in Little Witch Academia. The show is about the story of Little Witch and her struggles of trying to get through academia. In episode 5, when the mayor and Mr. Perfect visit the school, Mr. Perfect is perfect in every way, and all the girls swoon after him, except for Little Witch, who wasn't allowed to go because she sucks at academia. This actually works out in her favor. As she sneaks around the school to get better at academia, she has a chance encounter with Mr. Perfect. Little Witch wastes little time demonstrating just how bad she is at academia, which results in the two of them needing to pair up for an episode of adventure, where Little Witch searches for the magical MacGuffin of academia, and Mr. Perfect demonstrates how perfectly perfect he is. So after this, Mr. Perfect pops in and out of the story, usually at the perfect time, to maintain and slowly grow the relationship between himself and Little Witch. What once started out as a chance meeting between two wildly different people with wildly different viewpoints became a natural friendship between two wildly different people with less wildly different viewpoints. So despite being mostly terrible at academia throughout the series, we realize as she makes friends with future world leaders, maybe there's a lot more to this Little Witch than her academia, which is exactly what the characters realize as well as they go from looking down on her to respecting her as someone who somehow gets things done. The one interesting twist to their relationship is Little Witch actually doesn't care all that much about Mr. Perfect one way or the other. While we do see her swoon for him once or twice, she is much more focused on her personal goals. When they do sit down and talk, it's usually about her dreams or chastising him for his beliefs that she doesn't agree with. More often than not, it feels like Mr. Perfect is along for the ride and gets to hang out with Little Witch than the other way around. So, what's the point? Who cares? Of course, shows are going to have characters hanging out with other characters, and in most any good writing, protagonists are going to go through some kind of character growth no matter who they are hanging out with. The point is, you could build up your main character without worry of the usual pitfalls of turning your protagonist into a Mary Sue, by building up a side character instead. Side characters aren't usually held to the same standards we, the audience, hold for our protagonists. Since they usually get much less screen time and development, we are much more ready to accept them as they are, whether it be the horrible boss, the blubbering loser, or the Mr. Perfect. In building up your Mr. Perfect and then attaching them to your protagonist, you can rub some of those positive traits off on your character without overdoing it. When it comes to making these kind of characters, the slightly cooler older brother won't do. It has to be something much cooler that just exudes it just by existing, and it has to be someone with much less of a natural connection, so when that person and the protagonist meet up, it has far more of an impact. So, let's put it to the test. Let's tell the story of Stu. Stu doesn't have many friends because of his horribly disformed face, and he kinda smells. He works a dead-end job flipping burgers, but he still holds on to his dream of one day becoming the Burger King. One day, due to an unfortunate series of comedic accidents, he becomes best friends with the former United States President, Barack Obama. Obama is a very emotionally available friend, and he doesn't have much to do in retirement. So one day, he releases this message.
The people of the United States, I have an important announcement. The fast food, the boy and I are now good friends. He makes me feel the things that Michelle never could. Tomorrow, we are going to play tennis together. And I truly believe he is what it takes to become the Burger King. God bless America.
So we still haven't really said a nice thing about Stu, but maybe, just maybe, now you care a little bit more about his dream of becoming the Burger King.
Please don't forget to smash that like button.